Hello, and welcome to Between Thoughts and Being Reflections on Being Human. I'm Dr. Jaspreet Soor, a retired physician, transitions consultant, and storyteller, exploring what it means to live with awareness, intention, and humanity in a complex world. This podcast is a space to slow down together, a space for reflection rather than instruction. Here, we explore the human experience through stories, neuroscience, and gentle inquiry, not to arrive at quick answers, but to leave with better questions. So, wherever you are, take a breath, settle in, and let's begin. Today's episode is titled, I Can't Show You My Broken Bones: The Invisible Weight of Psychological Abuse. There's something I've been sitting with, and it's difficult to talk about, not because it's complicated, but because it's hard to point to. We're used to understanding harm in a certain way. If something is broken, we can see it. If something is injured, there's evidence. But what happens when that isn't there? When something has affected you deeply, and yet you have nothing concrete to hold up and say, this is what happened. That's the space psychological abuse lives in. And the thing about it is that it's not always obvious when you're in it. It doesn't arrive loudly. It can be subtle. A comment that doesn't quite sit right. A moment where you suddenly feel unsure of yourself. A conversation you replay later, trying to figure out what just happened. And if it happens once, you move on. But if it happens again and again, something begins to shift. Not just around you, but within you. You start to question things you've never questioned before. Your memory, your reactions, your sense of what is real. You stop trusting yourself. And when you lose that, everything else becomes harder to trust too. You might find yourself asking, was that actually wrong? Did I misunderstand? Am I overreacting? Or even, am I the problem? This is what makes psychological abuse so complex. The harm isn't just in the moment, it's in what gets shaped over time. Especially if this began early in life. Because as a child, you don't have the distance to name what's happening. You adapt. You make sense of things in the only way you can. And often, that means turning things inward. But this doesn't only belong to childhood. It shows up in adult relationships, in families, in workplaces, and sometimes in systems where power exists. And because it doesn't leave visible marks, it can go unrecognized for a very long time. I've heard this from many people. Something feels off, but I don't know why. And that uncertainty can last for years, maybe a lifetime. Because without something clear to point to, the mind tries to make sense of it. And often, it does that by turning against itself. So even when awareness begins to surface, it doesn't come with certainty. It comes with doubt. You can see something more clearly, and at the exact same time, question you're seeing it correctly, that's not failure. That's the imprint of what's been experienced. Healing from this is not a straight path. It is possible. It doesn't begin with clarity. It begins with noticing, a pause, a moment of discomfort, a quiet recognition that something is off. And from there, the work isn't just about moving forward. It's about gently untangling what has been shaped within you. You may question your healing, your reactions, even whether you have the right to feel what you feel. You may feel pulled back towards what was familiar, even if it wasn't healthy. That pull is not weakness, it's conditioning. Because in many ways, you are learning how to return to yourself. Not the version that adapted to survive, but the one that existed before. There isn't always a clear moment of closure, but there can be a return to your own perception, to your own voice, to your ability to trust what you feel. And that return matters. So if you're listening to this and something in you feels unsettled, if there's a quiet sense that something hasn't been right, even if you can't fully explain it, you're not alone. And not having proof does not mean it didn't happen. Not all broken bones can be seen, but your body knows they are there. If this is something you're beginning to understand in your own life and you want a space to explore it, remember that I'm here. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If something in this reflection resonated, I invite you to carry the feeling with you gently and without needing immediate understanding. You can explore more reflections and my work at my website, drsoor.com. drsoor.com. Until next time, this is Between Thoughts and Being, a reminder to live with awareness, to meet yourself with compassion, and to find meaning not only in what you think, but in how you are. Take care.